Do you ever feel imposter syndrome at Cornell? Opinions on international students. Do you feel the pressure to party?
I think I met Will actually first time at a party.
Really?
Yeah, literally. I thought this guy looked like Charlie Puth.
Oh my god, Aloha, it's Katie, and today I'm with some friends.
I'm Anna and I'm a CS major.
I'm Teresa, I'm an info sci major.
I'm Will and I'm a computer science major.
Hello, my name is Han. I'm also an info sci major.
So today we're gonna do a Q&A. So there are two parts to this. The first part is just general Cornell questions, and then the second part will be more internship, like career advice. To start off with though, I thought it'd be fun to explain how we all met.
So we're all part of the Cornell Engineering Product Team, the Design and Tech Initiative. The four of us, Ayn, me, Will, and Teresa, we're all part of the Course Plan sub-team, which is one of the products that DTI is building. We
Katie's on Zing.
And
Oh yeah.
Katie's like the integral member of Zing, so we're all part of DTI, and it's like, a lot of fun. We build cool projects.
And Course Plan is actually this new product coming soon that's going to be super helpful if you're a Cornell student. So does anyone want to just plug what you guys do?
It's a 4-year or more academic planner. We have a lot of majors and minors on there. It's going to help you plan your requirements better than Excel or whatever you're doing right now. So go to courseplan.io and try it and let us know what you think.
You can actually see what courses go apply to what requirements for your major in college. But we've been working on it now for almost 2 years because it's very, very complicated, but hopefully you guys can try it and hopefully it looks nice.
Yeah. And if your major isn't on there, we're working on it. Just let us know.
Yeah, you can complain directly to me. Just kidding. Is it open to incoming first years also?
Yes, anyone can log on the site and hopefully there's enough information for even people completely new to Cornell to use it.
Nice. I'm looking at you. I know you guys have been planning your courses already, so you guys should check out Course Plan. And we can get started with the Q&A. The first question is, what do you all usually do during your free time at school? Because you have plenty of free time.
I feel like when we're not doing classes or course plan, so that's been taking up a lot of time. I think I'm just hanging out with my roommates or just planning fun events for us, but that's pretty much it.
I've gotten into cooking, I think, just because since I'm living in an apartment with friends, finally I feel free to actually cook in the kitchen, and so it's been fun. I feel like that's a way that I relax and everything, and I like to always take pictures at the end.
I also have been super into cooking. I never cooked until this summer, but moving to an apartment for the first time with a bunch of roommates and not having access to Cornell cafes and dining has been a culture shock. But it's been really fun. It's a good outlet, I think, for COVID stress and everything.
I think a bit of fair cooking as well. Fair share of that. Hang out with friends. If not with that, just obviously just trying to tinker with some other stuff.
Do you explain tinker with?
All of us are very CS technical people. Sometimes I just check something out, learn a new tool, maybe into a new language, stuff like that.
Work part-time, 20 hours.
We're gonna start up. Next question is, do you feel the pressure to party?
Not with COVID, not now.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe first year.
I guess first year, maybe if it's not a COVID situation, then I guess for parties, that's a way to meet new people, so maybe there could be pressure there. There are so many ways to make friends, especially freshman year, because everyone's extra friendly. For me, it was I made all the friends that I'm living with right now. They're actually the people I met the first week of college, which is pretty rare, but they're all from the same dorm as me. So I feel I guess maybe not limiting yourself to that only option for partying, but that's definitely a valid way to make friends as well.
I think I met Will actually first time at a party.
Really?
Yeah, literally. I thought this guy looked like Charlie Puth.
Oh my god!
I was like, this guy. And then I was like, yeah, he seems cool.
Are there still campus events during COVID?
I think so. I don't. Oh yeah, because they had during wellness days, they had everything set up on the arts class. There's a lot of food and activities and stuff. You've been rock climbing and stuff.
Yeah, I've been rock climbing. We're going next week.
Yeah.
Cornell's had a lot of nice virtual events. I feel like they've had some singers and comedians from SNL and stuff that have been really good.
I feel people are still doing a lot of on-campus stuff. The slope is usually pretty busy with picnics and stuff, so people are having fun. Yeah.
So Cornell freshman here, I've been on campus for 3 months and still haven't made any friends. Do you have any advice?
I think this is definitely a tough semester for a lot of people to make friends, frankly. Depending on, where you live, depending on everything going on right now. I definitely feel like there isn't as many like new connections going on just this semester in general. Take the best out of the opportunities that you have right now, classes with some things that you want to do.
It's a rough time, but things will get better. Even if you're a sophomore next year, everyone will still want to really meet new people because everyone's been living in this situation.
Have you guys thought about like the fact that we'll basically have like double first years next year because all the like incoming sophomores are gonna just experience everything for the first time too, so it'll just be like half first years at Cornell.
I really hope you get to still get the most out of Cornell because I think it's still possible. You can do so much with the time you have here.
You can still like meet people like in dorms or like through classes. I mean, it's way harder over Zoom obviously, but you can still try at least.
Next question is, are clubs at Cornell exclusive or hard to get into or welcoming to new members?
I think there are so many clubs. So like you have like certain like organizations where you have to apply to like be a member. So like DTI, like there is like an application process, but that doesn't mean like you should be afraid to apply. Like definitely go for it. I think at the end of the day, you know, everyone just wants to meet people who have like similar interests and make friends. So there's such a huge spectrum of different clubs. So I'm sure that there's something you could find that you'll enjoy.
I feel like even if like clubs have applications, like you don't like need to have like the most experience or like know stuff to get in, because like I applied for like as a designer for DTI, and I used like the only tool I used before was like PowerPoint, which is like not a design tool, but like it worked out. Like as long as you show that you have like passion or you're like willing to learn, like you can like it'll work out. And then I guess if there's like no clubs that you like, you can make your own.
Oh, that is true. Join Cornell Creatives. Another one. Do you ever feel imposter syndrome at Cornell, and how do you overcome it?
Yes, I do at least. I didn't like start off like knowing that I wanted to do something in tech. Like I was a pre-med, like a lot of people start off as pre-med, and for me, like, you know, starting to take like CS classes and info sci classes, information science classes, you know, I definitely sometimes felt like I was out of my depth sometimes, because like there would be people next to me they're like been coding since they're like in middle school, and I was like, how am I gonna like catch up to them? But then also I realized like at the end of the day, it's like you all have your own like sets of talents, and just because like you don't know something now doesn't mean you can't learn it. It's like a constant like thing that I at least face. Like whenever I like have something new, I'm always like facing this imposter syndrome. So you're like not alone if you feel it, but also I think it's good to like recognize that you do have something you can do about it, which is just like power through and just focus on like how you can improve yourself.
When you feel imposter syndrome, sometimes it's kind of tough for you individually. The good thing about it is that it could also be a good thing. And I mean that is because when you kind of have that feeling, it's hard for you to see yourself here. It's never the case. But when you're ever feeling that, it means that you've also kind of did very well to get to a point where you also probably deserve to kind of like have that as well. But another thing though I would say about imposter syndrome is that it's also, I think, something that goes away with time as well.
As a freshman, because you're taking a lot of courses that probably every other freshman is taking, so like finding people and just working together probably makes things a little easier.
How do you deal with burnout when you really can't afford the time off to rest?
I have like a different attitude when it comes to like, you know, burning out in general. I don't think that taking a break is oftentimes the best solution for it. I think is that if you've ever encountered burnout in general, it's more of just due to a lack of interest in the thing that you're particularly doing deep down, rather than it being legitimately tiring. I think I find like infinite energy, you know, with some courses that I'm interested in, or like a project that I really love to do. I could go on for like days on end, not sleep, and just do that. But for other things, you know, you work on it for like 2 minutes and you're like, well, I'm gonna take a break. I think a good way to think about it is always like, either, you know, find purpose in what you're doing. You know, if you don't really understand the point of it, try to like understand maybe how it aligns with what you're trying to do. But more importantly, getting yourself in those things in the first place, right? Doing the things that you love. The best thing about Cornell is that there's tons and tons and tons of opportunity to do that. And I think if you find those that you're both interested and good at, I think burnout wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of things you can do that really aren't wasting time. Not that I think wasting time is like something you can actually do, but like getting meals with people is really great and always puts me in a better mood. And going on walks is also really nice, especially on such a beautiful campus. It's always refreshing.
This one is for the three of you, but it's opinions on international students.
Yeah, they suck.
Unbiased.
Where are you from?
Oh, where am I from?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're-
Canada.
And I'm from the Philippines. So I'm curious, like, I don't know, is there anything you noticed about international students?
I did not know you were an international student when I first met you, but I didn't like really notice until you were like freaking out about the snow. Also, like you were cold all the time. You had like 40,000 layers, but I really didn't notice. Like I couldn't tell. I guess it's nice because I get to like learn more about like where you're from and you have different perspectives on stuff. She also like brings mangoes and like snacks all the time.
I don't think it ever feels that different than anyone else, meeting an international student or anyone else, because it seems like everyone is from somewhere like Washington or Westchester, New York City, like
I know.
most of the campus. But yeah, there's
Not
just
a-
people from all over, and it's really cool to interact with people like that when you've grown up in the same place your whole life.
What are your thoughts?
On international students? I like that we use Celsius. That's like the number one thing, like especially when it started getting cold in first year, like I would get so excited. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so warm today. It's like 16 degrees. And you'll be like, what? It's 16? And I'll be like, oh. What is the most interesting class you've taken?
My most interesting class I've taken was actually a law class, since we're sitting in the law school courtyard.
fitting.
But yeah, my spring freshman year, after taking like only intro to engineering classes in the fall, I decided to branch out and take a law class, especially because I'm really just into government and trying to do a public policy minor. But that was just super cool. It was just like an intro class, but we talked about like, it started with freedom of speech, I think, because everyone's really familiar with that, but we got into like civil lawsuits and stuff like that, which I really didn't have any idea. And the professor was really cool, and the law school library is really cool, and I feel like most Cornell students haven't been in there because, you know, it's so out of the way.
I know a lot of people take this. I really like Intro to Oceanography. I think like some of the most exciting classes to me have been the ones that like made absolutely no sense. no, not oceanography. Like branching out and just trying one of these classes. Like for Will, it's law. You know, for me, it's oceanography. Like I'm sure there's like really cool classes at Cornell that are just like completely different than what you're used to doing.
I like classes where you can like work in groups and you like work on a project or something together. But I also think like my CS classes became more fun when you're like learning about stuff and like your professor invented it, or like your professor knows like the person that like invented something, because then you just like you realize like, wait, I'm actually at Cornell, I'm learning from people that like invented this stuff, like that's crazy.
My most memorable class, it's like exactly what Han was kind of saying. It was like something completely different, and it was this planting class. It was like horticulture. It was like 2 credits, and I was able to take a class with like friends who were in like different majors, like 'cause that like rarely happens, especially after like freshman year. Like no FWSs to share. It was so nice because it's just like once a week, every Friday, we got to like learn about different plants, like bring them home to our dorm, and so it's like completely different from what I like usually do, but just like having such a different subject to learn about with like friends, I don't know, I think that made the experience really nice. So I definitely agree with what you said, Han.
What was your favorite?
I'm hoping to minor in creative writing and maybe game design. I think that I really love poetry. Poetry was something very unexpected that I delved into last semester, but it came at like a point where I was having a lot of like life crises and just was like looking for art in like within my home, because I was really just stuck there for 300 days, and poetry was just like really beautiful and transported me to a lot of different places. Okay, last question for this section is, do you have any off-campus food recommendations?
Poke lava.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? What do you mean right?
I have to say, I didn't even know that existed until like junior year. I think it was after like an all hands like the big like DTI group meeting. After that, I think a couple of us were like going to lunch, and they're like, we're gonna go to Poke Lava. And I'm like, what's Poke Lava? But it's just like poke bowls and stuff. And I remember after that, there was like a certain time where I would get one like every single week because I was like so into it. So I would say that was one of my faves. But
I like Oishi Bowl. I don't know, I'm like pretty basic. Like I like Chipotle, I like Dunkin', I like CTP, I don't know.
Thompson and Bleeckers, have you guys been?
Oh, yes! Those honey pizzas.
Oh, yeah, those are so good. Yeah, you typically wouldn't go there. It's more of like a once or twice a semester type of deal, but like some of the best.
With Waffle Frolic in the comments.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
got waffle frolic last week, and oh, it's so good.
Where did you guys intern during your summer breaks, and what was your role? What is your internship advice for software engineering students? Do you have any tips for applying to project teams or clubs? that was it for this Q&A. Thank you guys again for joining, and make sure to check out Course Plan, link down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below. I upload new videos every week. Share this video with your friends if they're coming to Cornell, if they're at Cornell. I'll see you guys next week with another new video. Bye!